Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So the actor that plays Daredevil did this big interview where he talks about Infinity War, Daredevil Season 3, Defenders, so I tried to cut this down. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything. I do Marvel and DC every week, but he talks about Infinity War, he talks about filming Defenders, the action scenes, the comic book costumes, as well as a bunch of behind-the-scenes cool Marvel stuff. When he was originally joining the show, they had to do some rights wrangling with Fox. So I added a little text as we go along, just in case you're not sure what he's talking about when they get to those parts of the interview, but I'll recap that at the end of this. So there's some really cool stuff in here, so enjoy.
We have the lovely Charlie Cox from Marvel's Daredevil. Charlie, hello.
Hi. Just finished The Defenders.
The Defenders.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
am I right in thinking you've just finished season 3?
No.
You've not?
No, I'll do that later on in the year.
That's later on the
I'll
year.
go back and do that.
You must be knackered.
Do you know what? When we filmed we filmed Daredevil, the first 2 seasons of Daredevil have destroyed me.
Yeah.
Defenders was slightly different because there's 4 of us. Well, the lot of the show we're not. You know, we can't all be together all the time. So there's a lot more effectively in the shooting schedule. There's a lot more time off.
Great.
And the way that it worked out actually it was quite cool. Is that because my character's the only one that has a mask, they had to, when we did action sequences, they have to kind of make sure that they get the other 3 doing their bits.
Right, okay.
Because they can always use my stunt double if they have.
Your fight sequences are, I mean, Daredevil is my favourite out of the one. And I think a lot of it may be because, the story's great, but the fight sequences, you do have a mask, so your stunt double can get you a lot.
This is true. You're right. I do do a lot. Because I love that aspect of it, and I really enjoy it. But when DD does do some flying 720 flip kick, whatever you call it, you can pretty much, because of the speed in which he's moving, you can pretty much film that straight on my double, who's an amazing martial artist, and it cuts really nicely.
Yeah.
If one of the other characters was to do that, you would still in those moments be able to see probably. So yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. And I think one of the reasons it works, it actually was work well in DD, is because of the.
So how long did it take to film Defenders then?
I think 5 months, 5 and a bit.
That's
months.
not a long time.
No, it's only 8 episodes.
It's 8 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long does it take for Daredevil when it's 12?
6 months. So we had less time per episode. It's quick, man.
Whoa, it's quick.
It is really quick.
Sounds quick.
I think we get for DD. And bearing in mind again, it's an action show. So when you film a TV show, 2-3 pages of dialogue, it takes a couple hours.
Yeah.
But half a page of action takes 2 days.
Of course, yeah.
So
but still, the action sequences you're doing, if you were doing a film, would take a couple of
whole
weeks.
Second unit.
Yeah,
A whole second unit on months doing it probably. Yeah. With lots of rehearsal. I mean, I regularly turn up and they're like, right, this is what we're doing. And we have an amazing stunt team who've obviously they've been working tirelessly for the duration of the episode on it.
Yeah.
But no, I think we film DD. We film 8 episodes on first unit and maybe 1 or 2 days second unit.
Wow. And do you have? So is it a bit? I mean, we've got some questions, but do you bring in the Daredevil stunt team, the Iron Fist stunt team, the Jessica Jones, and
no, they hired a whole new
one
team for the Defenders.
They got a whole new one.
But
your stunt double,
our stunt doubles all remain the same.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
That was kind of part of
that makes
deal,
sense.
I think.
So it must be cool. So is there any directors that you work with?
Yeah. So it was the.
Did Drew?
It was
Goddard
the A
write
team.
any?
Yeah. Yes. He was I believe he was a kind of consultant on the whole thing, and he wrote 1 or 2 of the episodes. I don't know. I can't remember exactly which ones. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But no, I think so. They've done now 4 series of 13 episodes.
Yeah.
So it was, the directors were essentially, from what I could work out, the A team from those 4.
Right.
Those 4 13-hour slots. They got the best.
They got the best ones. Yeah. The ones that
Yeah.
Great. So it's going to look amazing. Does it look amazing?
I haven't seen anything.
Right.
I hope so. When we were leaving, they some of my bosses were saying S.J. Clarkson, who did the first 2 episodes of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
She did the first 2 episodes of Defenders, and I was hearing very good things about that. So production, Marvel production are editing it, but they've got but Netflix have essentially say when they want it. It's not like regular TV where when you finish the last episode they go, right, well, it'll air in 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
They just choose the slot.
and stuff from it. But like for me, like bringing the Punisher in and Elektra was just like a different dimension from the first season.
Yeah,
like it just and you know Punisher's got his own show now, hasn't he? And
that sounds great.
it does. I mean, he's just great.
Yeah,
and,
John
do you know what I
Bernthal.
mean?
Oh,
Do you ever get?
He was a boxer, wasn't he? Like
he looks like one.
yeah,
Yeah.
He definitely is. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's great. Yeah, I mean, look, it was. I think that I was quite nervous about season 2 because the first season had been so grounded in terms of the story. It really didn't feel like a superhero show. It felt like a crime drama with this superhero kind of element to it. Because they knew they were gearing towards the Defenders, and because Danny Rand, Iron Fist, is one of the Defenders. And his world has to operate in a kind of mythological place. You can't ground that in the same way that you can ground the other shows.
Yeah.
So they knew that they needed to start hinting towards that mythological element, and DD2 was the perfect opportunity to do that because the Hand, as a kind of ancient evil organization, whatever you call them, do exist within the Daredevil comics. So, I was like, wow, okay, so now we're asking the audience that we've gained to now suspend disbelief a little bit further because we're going to involve this mythological element. Karen Page, Deborah Ann
So then
Woll,
she had this whole Punisher side thing, which was
Right.
great, and then your best mate, then he went off and did his
and
thing,
I think
and that kind of
she's-
grounded it, didn't it?
Yeah, I think
know
so.
what I mean?
I actually haven't seen the whole thing, but from what I remember reading the scripts, yes, that was very much. That was the hope. It's hard, man.
Well, you never know.
You just never know.
No.
do
You
you?
never know.
And I think for the most part, we people seem to really enjoy that.
Everyone wants to know if you're in Infinity War.
There was a big everyone got very excited momentarily because I don't know the real story behind this, but everyone got very excited momentarily because Downey's Twitter feed released an image that had all the names of the superheroes
on the Infinity Wars poster.
Yes, on the Infinity Wars poster, and of course the Netflix characters were involved.
We're on it, yeah.
Yeah, so there was suddenly there was a lot of people took that to mean that we were going to all team up. I have not received that phone call.
Okay, that's annoying because
Marvel TV and Marvel Studios is
It's a completely different thing, isn't it? Is
Run
Marvel
by different
TV
people.
based in New York?
But
or
then
is it
again,
LA?
Clark Gregg's in the Avengers.
Yeah.
Why not? And because a lot of people ask me, do you think based on the the kind of the tone and the genre that Daredevil the show is in, the Netflix show is in, could that coexist with in one of the Avenger movies? And I went back and had a look at the comics to see how they approached it, and DD can't compete with those guys, not really. I mean, he's a street level hero and he doesn't have the superpowers in the same way, but his role within that, his role as a device in Civil War is really effective, and he maintains his kind of like his character, and he the panels that he's in are slightly different. The comic element is just slightly different. There's less levity in those moments.
Yeah.
So I think it could have worked, but who knows? Maybe one day. Can I tell you something I'm very proud of?
Yeah, you're not on Twitter.
Never been on social media. John Bernthal's constantly getting in trouble for
Oh,
posting
really?
something he's not allowed to, shouldn't have done, or blah blah blah. And I was a bit depressed about that. And this audition came up for just something that I should do because it wasn't Daredevil. They didn't tell me that. It was Alex in something. But eventually I got the job, and I had to go and have a lunch with this really wonderful man who resurrected Daredevil the comic back in the 80s, and he's kind of one of the great Marvel guys, and he's a creative influence on the show. He's called Joe Quesada. I went to have a lunch with him, and he told me this story, which of course I had if I'd have known during the process, would have changed it a great deal for me. Which was that essentially Fox made the movie of Daredevil with Ben Affleck years ago, and they own the rights, and so Marvel were kind of they couldn't make Daredevil. They didn't own it anymore, and they weren't going to own it for many years. And then he had found out 2 years prior that that Fox wanted some more X-Men stuff or something, and they were willing to trade, and they were willing to give back the rights to Daredevil. And that was 2 years before they even wrote the scripts,
Are you serious?
Well, my mate Ben Barnes is having a lot of success, having had a period of time where he wasn't enjoying his life.
What's he
as much.
doing?
Because he played a kind of a baddie in Westworld. And so now he's got this great character in the Punisher show, which I think is going to,
that's
from what I hear
great.
about it, is going to be fantastic.
He's a really good actor.
He's great. He's a lovely
Because he
guy.
did a
Yeah.
couple of really like sort of dark indie movies, didn't he? After coming from sort of a
Maybe,
bigger-
but he's not. If you know Ben Barnes, he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he's played lots of very nice people and in rom-coms.
So recapping the biggest stuff, he says that he's the only one wearing a mask during Defenders, meaning no Danny Rand, but maybe he'll get the idea from watching Daredevil do it here, because this looks an awful lot like 1940s Iron Fist. He says that they're getting ready to film Daredevil Season 3 a little bit later this year. They're filming Jessica Jones Season 2 right now. He says he hasn't gotten any calls about being in Infinity War, so that's just to be determined, not expecting TV characters to cross over right now. He confirmed that all of the best people from all the different Netflix shows were pulled together to make Defenders, so that just means the best of the best writers, people that make the action, the stunt team, all the best stuff. So if you were worried about the stunt team from Iron Fist or some other show that you weren't a big fan of doing this, no, do not worry, it's going to be amazing, and they've already confirmed the premiere date is August 18th. They've added a teaser for that, so I'll post a link to that at the end of this, but he also talked about the Punisher TV show and Ben Barnes. They're supposed to premiere that later this year too, but there hasn't been a confirmation for that yet. They're still finishing filming that right now. Leave all your Marvel video requests in the comments below. But what's going to happen next is I have a cool Star Wars Darth Vader video that I want to post. Celebration's happening next week, so I'll post an update about what's going on with that. So while you wait for that to post, you can click here for the Defenders teaser again, and you can click here for my new Rick and Morty. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you in the next video.